What's up, everybody? I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And we are doing another tier list. Today we are doing the head coaches of all 32 teams. Before we get into that, go hit like and subscribe, and then leave us a comment if you agree with us. If you don't agree with us, either way, we'd love to hear from you. And
then go watch more of our videos to disagree with us.
Exactly. And, I mean, if you really feel we're worthy of it, share it with your friends. If anybody likes sports, we'd love to, hear their take, too. So, without further ado, we're going to get into ranking these head coaches for the National Football League. Up first is Jonathan Gannon. It's too early to tell, going into his first year.
Yeah.
You can make a lean one way or another how you feel, but the reality is it's too early to tell.
Even if you're not a fan, you got to give him a year.
Yep. Arthur Smith with the Falcons. I am really hardly into their fine thing because I think this could go well, but I don't know.
Yeah, let them know what the tiers are.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the tiers, the first tier is blue chip. This is defined as the coaches that, they elevate their teams. You could have teams that aren't built awesome, or they have a big weakness, and these teams still, punch way above their weight based on, scheme.
Right.
The next group is high-end teams, high-end performance. So these are the coaches that, if they have a good team or even a halfway competent team, you're gonna have a really good year. These are really good coaches that they aren't the thing that elevates wildly. And then the third tier, they're fine. They work. We don't exactly know how great or how bad they are, but for right now, they make do.
Think of John Fox in the Denver era.
Exactly.
Getting removed after 4 playoff appearances.
Yeah,
it's fine.
This might
if
be
you want more.
This might be something where if the team overachieves or does really well, the coach could be the thing that needs to get changed to get it over the top.
Sure.
The next group is too early to tell. These are either rookie coaches or some second-year coaches, depending on the situation. Then the last group is the hot seat group. This group could get a little interesting because I think there are coaches that are better than this tier that could end up in it just for various reasons.
Sure.
But it's the coaches that they're probably coaching for their job this year.
Pretty much.
All right.
Or getting damn near close.
Yeah, so Jonathan Gannon, too early. I think Arthur Smith is their fine thing. The Falcons are trending correctly. They just do it in complete anonymity.
Yeah, it's very low key. I put them in their fine.
Yeah,
location as well.
Exactly. Here's one that might be slightly contentious. John Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach. I think he is the very high end of that second tier.
Yeah,
when the Ravens fall apart, they don't collapse entirely, but they're not the same, and they don't tend to rise too much.
Yeah.
And they've had years where they missed the playoffs and things like that. But generally, the dude's a freaking great coach. He had Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson on the same team in the same season, started both of them, and completely built 2 different offenses in the same year, and it went well.
Yeah.
That's a testament to coaching right there.
Yeah.
So, I think he's top of that second group. I think there's a little bit of difference between him and the very top.
Yeah, I think he's just short of that blue chip category.
But he's awesome.
But he is a really good coach. Credit where credit is,
He's a coach that should not be fired until he decides to leave.
Yeah, or unless it's we're completely rebuilding everything from the ground up situation. But the Ravens have never been in that situation while he's been around. So, 100%, I think he belongs in that top tier. As high as you can get on that second category.
To my knowledge, maybe we're running into somebody that we'd put above him, but off the top of my head, I don't have anybody to beat him out in that group.
That's kind of where I limit it.
And speaking of guys that are probably in that group, I think Zach Taylor is in that group, but he's lower down than John Harbaugh.
Yeah, give John Harbaugh the nod, of course. I do think Zach Taylor belongs in that great team, great performance kind of position. I think he's a good. I think what really proves it is missing Jamar Chase and finding a way to incorporate T. Higgins, and then the run game wasn't really working, and then finding a way to incorporate Joe Mixon into the passing game, and then elevating the run game as the season went along. This isn't a guy who's just coasting off of Joe Burrow. I do think that
there's an element of that.
He's been benefited by having Joe Burrow around, as any coach in the league would be.
I think he's very similar to a coach that we'll see later on, but I'll just say it now. I think he has the same questions that should be asked about him that Matt LaFleur has had asked about him.
And yeah, we'll get our answer from Matt LaFleur this season.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I think that the questions that are levied at them are both warranted.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, how much is his success based on Joe Burrow being a great quarterback?
Yep.
That's a fair question to ask. Based on what I've seen as a Bengals fan, knowing, there were a lot of weaknesses that we were having, especially at the beginning of the season, starting 0-2.
Yeah.
I think he adapted well, and I'm not going to sit here and say he belongs to be above John Harbaugh. That's
that's a lot.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
But I do think he belongs in this tier.
All right. Next up is Sean McDermott for the Bills. I think as a coach, he's in that same tier. But I think where he is this year, I think he's on the hot seat. Not necessarily because he should be. But I think as a coach, the dude took the Bills when they were not good. Mm-hmm. He's the coach that completely turned them around, drafted Josh Allen, oversaw his development. He did a lot of great things, but we're in a situation potentially where...
Is it Brandon Beane, the GM,
yes.
that we give the credit to?
No. I think he's done worse at his job than McDermott has at his. I would put more... Yes. Because the Bills are lacking... multiple blue chip talents. The Bills have solid pieces, but not a ton of difference makers outside of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs.
I'm gonna make the argument that McDermott is fine, and I think that's why we're having this conversation of hot seat.
That's why That's why I want to put him in the hot seat tier because the hot seat tier is not made up of coaches that aren't necessarily bad coaches.
No, I get
these
that.
are just the coaches that I think for this season. They gotta do well, and I think doing well looks different for a lot of these things. I think for the Bills, if they are not in the AFC Championship this year, at least they will switch head coaches.
And here's why I will put McDermott in they're fine category because that is exactly the situation. I think this is very much like the. Excuse me to use the same.
You referenced John Fox, yeah, I know.
I'm gonna bring up John Fox again. Look, this is a guy who very clearly has done a good job with this team, and he has a really good quarterback and a great offense, and yeah, there are some missing pieces, especially on that offensive side of the ball and a little bit on the defensive side of the ball where they could still improve. But I honestly think Brandon Beane is the reason that we are in a position where Josh Allen is a top quarterback, specifically going and getting Stephon Diggs, bringing in a wide receiver 1 for his quarterback.
Well, that's really all he's done for him.
Well, he's good at building a defense as well. There's been a little bit of some miscues here and there. This is not a Brandon Beane conversation, but I will strictly put him in their fine category because I do see it going exactly the way that you said was if this is a season where it's one more missed year of potential from this roster.
Well, I think as a coach, he is at his floor. He's high end team, high end performance because when the team's high end, they perform high end.
I'm gonna go there fine.
I'm putting him in the hot seat group because it's where he is this year. I think as a coach, he's better.
I wouldn't put him in the hot seat category strictly because
his seat is hot.
No, I get that, but it's a different kind of hot seat. It isn't fighting for his job this year. It is.
I think he is.
I think it could be that, but I also think at the same time, if he gets the AFC Championship, he's not getting fired, and they're keeping him around. So and here's the thing: if the bar is so high that you're gonna lose your job if you don't get the AFC Championship, which is fucking insane.
Well,
by the way,
that's exactly what happened to the dude that you referenced.
No, I know, but that's the thing is it took 4 years to get there. It took a lot of success still to get to that point, and okay, we're not getting over the hump with this guy. I don't think we're at that point specifically with Sean McDermott. I do think that it's possible that they cut their ties and just say fuck it. I don't think we're at that point with Sean McDermott, which is why I say they're fine. Could they still be in that situation where they fire him if he doesn't make it there? Absolutely. But I put him in the they're fine situation strictly because I don't think he's fighting for his job this year. I think it's one more year if it happens, and then it's going to be, you know what, if this isn't the year that we live up to expectations, we're moving on. I don't think it's the coach's fault that we're in this position. I think Brandon Beane, while doing a good job, still has missed a few.
I think Brandon Beane gets too much credit.
He is the guy who drafted Josh Allen.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
There's Brian Dable in that situation, which helped him develop.
No, I know.
And that's why I'm strictly saying, look, Sean McDermott could go before Brandon Beane because it was Dable who was given a lot of the credit.
I'm aware of all this, but also in Buffalo, they never put a good O-line there. They never brought in anybody competent other than Stephon Diggs. Like, they didn't actually build that offense awesome.
But he is a great drafter. Look at some of the pieces that he's brought in for that defense. He's struggled on the offensive side of the ball, but he's brought in
ludicrous given their
Tre'Davious
situation.
White, signed Von Miller, which Von Miller was playing at a high level before the injury.
Given the Bills' situation, they should never be struggling to bring in offensive pieces. They should be focusing on it.
And that's perfectly fine, and I can completely understand.
But I'm not staying on the Bills anymore.
Sure. I would put him into their fine category. I'd put him there.
I'm either going hot seat or high-end team, high-end performance because he built that team from literally nothing and they got it up to a Super Bowl favorite, and then...
I don't know if I buy it on Sean McDermott, though.
I don't know if I buy it on Zach Taylor. They're the same coach.
I disagree.
Well, they're going right next to each other below John Harbaugh.
Fair enough.
Frank Reich. He, to me, is like maybe the top of their fine tier. He could be more than that. I just haven't seen it.
No, he belongs in the their fine category.
No, I'm saying he is firmly in the their fine thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if this gets higher because I think that the situation he dealt with in Indianapolis was so
fucked.
not conducive to him
fucked.
ever looking better.
Pretty fucked. I'll give him that.
He's in the their fine tier. I got him above Arthur Smith.
I think that's fair. There's a reason he was given another chance on another team.
Yep,
So.
and like immediately.
Yeah. No, I think it was a bad situation with the Colts. Now he's in a little bit better of one.
Yep.
We'll see where it goes.
Yep. Okay, so up next, Matt Eberflus with the Bears. I'll say this is too soon. Like, I don't know. The Bears didn't have anything to do last year. This is the first year where we can really start to judge anything in Chicago. So I'd say that he's still too soon, but if it goes bad this year, it's like,
I'm going to throw it out there. I think it's hot seat strictly because they probably, if Justin Fields shows any flashes this year and they still
I still
lose.
don't get why they hired him.
Well, that's the thing is I feel like it was very much a Lovie Smith, patsy coach kind of situation. Let's find a guy who's better, and they still haven't. So I think this is a good opportunity where even if Justin Fields looks good this year and plays well, and he should play better because now he has a true wide receiver one.
Yeah, he will.
This is a situation of, all right, let's go get a coach that is going to, the situation of bringing in a quarterback who has worked with a mobile quarterback.
It's just such a weird choice.
A coach who's worked with a mobile quarterback.
It's just such a weird choice. You could put him on the hot seat, but I don't think he's actually on it.
I think
somebody who is on the hot seat, but who's actually better than that, is Kevin Stefanski. Because again, just talking about like crazy situations going on that are out of his control in Cleveland. But I think that, say it doesn't go well this year, he's the dude that's going to take the fall.
Yeah, they're going to have to because they paid Deshaun Watson $250.
So I think as a coach, it's actually pretty good. Like the Browns went from 1-15 and 0-16 to marked improvement, make the playoffs, injuries, crazy trade, no quarterback for 10 weeks, comes back on the positive end is rusty as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just sort of like, and now, if it doesn't go well this year, they're still going to be like,
I think they only have one finger to point after this year because it's like, all right, well, you can't blame your quarterback.
Be it fair or
now.
not, I think he's on the hot seat.
It's probably not fair at
all.
all.
I think he's over. I would rank him over Matt Eberflus. Because I really do think Kevin Stefanski, if he's fired, it really is like, goddamn, they screwed him.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that's just what happens to the Browns, so I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, I think hot seat is fair. I don't think it's necessarily his fault, but
I think another coach that's on the hot seat, or I don't know if he actually is, but he damn well should be, is Mike McCarthy. Because that Dallas squad is legitimately good.
He should be.
Yeah.
I also think the quarterback should be, but
I know, but I'm just saying. But we're just talking coaches.
I know.
But Mike McCarthy, that Dallas squad is better than constantly getting bounced in the second round.
I think they should have fired McCarthy last year, and they should have promoted Kellen Moore.
This is the thing where great trait in a person, not always great in business. Goddamn, Jerry Jones is a loyal son of a bitch. He just gives people chances, and as a guy, I think like as a person, it's a great trait. To like you have people's backs.
I appreciate the loyalty.
But damn, you got to see when it's not working.
Set the guy free. He's going to be fine.
Well, the good news is for this year is there's no more excuses for him.
Yep.
Because he's calling the offense this year.
Yep.
Which might be the one thing that Dallas really doesn't need.
I think it's only going to make things worse.
I think you and I are about to agree on our first blue chipper, though. We got Sean Payton.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, I think he's a blue chipper. Not gonna be the top of that tier or anything, but damn good.
Yeah,
Like
he's
that's the type of thing that whether I know you don't like it, but that's the type of thing that like that can change your franchise.
hope it doesn't.
I know you hope it doesn't, but you know it can.
I hope what changes the franchise is Sean Payton and whoever quarterback he brings in.
The next quarterback.
Yeah.
You're like, love Sean Payton.
I
Rooting for the next guy.
I fucking love Sean Payton. Which
Were you
is
upset
why,
when he went there?
I
Yeah.
was. Well, here's the thing. The thing that really pissed me
Should have
off.
been a Charger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking exactly. Exactly.
We'll get there.
Fucking stupid.
We'll let you get. We'll rant about that when we get to them. Okay.
Fucking Broncos, man.
All right. Here's one that. God, this one's interesting. Dan Campbell. He's not blue chip because they haven't done that well, but
done anything, yeah.
but he's a coach that's young enough that given time could get into that tier based on how they trend over like years.
We'll see. That's a little bit.
I am willing to put him at the bottom end of the high performance thing because I don't think he's just fine. I think he's objectively good, and the way he's brought the Lions up is commendable. So I would put him at the bottom of that second good tier.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do think he could slip.
He could slip or rise. That's where the Lions are.
And that's the thing is that I don't want to take this away from him because I do like Dan Campbell and I like if you can bring in a guy and he brings in a good atmosphere and a good locker room presence and keeps the culture going. And that's a big part of this Lions turnaround is not only bringing in the right pieces but also, bite you in the kneecap mentality. I freaking love it. I don't know if I want to give him A because I don't think he's really fully deserved that yet. He hasn't even made the playoffs yet, which is why I want to give him there. He's fine.
He does not feel fine.
He does. No, that's the thing is that he doesn't feel just fine. But I'm gonna put him in the fine category with the expectation that if we do this again next year, he's in that.
All right, I'll do that, and I'll just his specific area in there is the damn they're fine tier instead of just they're fine.
Yeah, this is no disrespect to Dan Campbell. I genuinely think he's the right guy for that organization, and I do think the team is going to make a step up this year, and he's a good coach in my opinion, but he just hasn't. All he's done is make positive steps forward. We haven't had the big payoff just yet. They make playoffs this year. Absolutely, I'll give him up a tier.
All right, here's an interesting one. Matt LaFleur. I already told you one way or the other. He is right next to Zach Taylor.
Yep.
Because because their accusations or the questions asked are the same thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna put him above Zach Taylor for one reason and one reason only, and it's longevity.
Sure.
And we're gonna see more about him this year. Yep. But just right now, I think they're about the same, but he's just done it more. So I'm just going to put him there for now. That's not an indictment on Zach Taylor by me. That's just I just know more about Matt LaFleur right now, and we're about to learn a whole lot more.
Yep.
So I'm going to put him there for now, but he's another one. That's the thing about the coaches thing is subject to change every single year, with the exception of 7 or 8 guys where you're we know you're good.
Right. So I agree. I think he belongs in that tier as well. We're gonna have our answer very quickly of whether he's a down.
How good is your offense, brother?
Is he an up or in a down tier kind of situation, or is he right where he needs to be?
How good was Aaron Rodgers? That's what we're about to learn.
Exactly. So I think that's fair. We'll see what he has this year, and we'll get our answer. So
exactly. All right. Next up, Dougie P. Doug Peterson, Jaguars.
I think he belongs in that.
They're fine.
Really, I'd put him up a tier. I think he belongs in the high-performance high tier.
Really?
What other guy comes in post Urban Meyer, terrible Jags, and makes them a playoff team?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of big part of them being a playoff team is not so much
of who was available in that hiring class. Excuse me.
Okay, well that's a different question.
Yeah, no,
and the other thing, I think
he won a Super Bowl.
I think the Jags.
He won a Super Bowl with fucking Nick Foles, dude.
Hold on. More context is required to the Philly thing, and that they also immediately fell off a cliff.
Well,
any team can get it a year.
Yeah, because guess what?
I'll put him in there because
Carson Wentz fell off, not fucking Dougie P.
I'll put him in there because of that, but
Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning coach who won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Kyle Shanahan didn't do that.
Yeah, okay.
Couldn't even win the NFC championship.
Vastly different situation.
I know. I'm fucking with you.
Don't try me with that shit.
I'm kidding.
Doug Peterson. Okay, first of all,
here he goes.
Gets two. The Eagles Super Bowl team gets too much credit for being an absolute fluke of a team.
They were freaking loaded.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due.
Then they were the same team the next year and just ate it.
Because Carson Wentz was completely trash. And a quarterback who can
Don't
run
matter.
the system that Dougie P can run was gone because they got trade capital out of the
Nick
guy.
Foles also is not a guy.
No, but he's a guy who can listen to his head coach and not make retarded freaking
All right, he
decisions.
can be in that high end thing, but he's the bottom of it.
That's fair. I think a Super Bowl winning coach does not belong in the they're fine category when he had to go through what he went through.
I have the same philosophy with coaches as I do with players. Anybody can get it once. All you need is luck.
Anybody can win one Super Bowl once. Is
Yes.
what you're saying? Anybody?
Yes, anybody can win it once. Trent Dilfer won a fucking Super Bowl as a
Okay.
starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Like, there's a lot of if the stars align in any given season.
A coach is different than a coach is different than
If
a
the stars
quarterback
align
or a
in any
player
if
getting-
the stars align in any given season, you can win the Super Bowl.
What? Then how come you guys haven't done it?
Because the stars have not aligned. Trust me.
So what? So
Why haven't you?
Huh?
Why haven't
We've
you?
had 3 years of being competitive. One of which our quarterback was fucking dead.
We've had 4. But
You've been doing this for forever.
no, not with this group.
With this group, basically, for like what, 6-7 years you've been competitive?
No. It's since 19.
Feels like longer. but
No.
I'll give that
19 is when it got competitive. 20 injuries in like week 2
Right.
completely ended our season. And then
Super Bowl
competitive. Yeah. Just like you.
Yeah, that one sucks. It was our first year though, so like you feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, that's how it went with us too. Our first year being good, we went to the Super Bowl and lost.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Fleeting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's scary actually to think
Piece of
about.
shit. All right. Another. I think this should be unanimous. Andy Reid's getting up in that blue chip tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put him over Sean Payton.
Mahomes is only good because of Andy Reid.
Yeah, I mean the reason why nobody would ask the whole thing of like, oh, Andy Reid has Mahomes and say, yeah, Andy Reid was great in Philly, was great with Alex Smith, was great with everybody who's ever played with him.
Yep.
He's just a great coach.
Yep, hands down.
Oh, are you still hot because you're about to get pissed off again for this
Sure.
one? Brandon Staley.
Fuck that guy. I fucking hate him.
All right, he's definitely hot seat.
What a fucking loser. He should have been hot seat last year. Like, this
should've
doesn't make
been.
any fucking
I
sense.
know. Well, it makes.
Especially with Sean Payton being like,
I'll
yeah,
tell
I'd
you
love
right
to
now.
get back into coaching.
There's only one reason it makes sense. The Chargers are cheap and didn't want to pay
No,
Sean Payton and the Brandon Staley.
Which
thing.
is fucking stupid.
They're known for this.
Yeah, but it pisses me off.
I know, it's stupid,
It pisses
but
me the fuck
but
off.
they are
Get a new
cheap.
fucking owner, Chargers.
I
It's
know.
pissing me the fuck
it's
off.
unfortunate.
Spanos is a fucking piece of shit.
Imagine if Walmart owned them.
Oh, I would be so happy if that were the case. Oh my god, I hate this fucking planet and everybody who lives on it.
Yeah, Brandon Staley is on the hot seat pretty firmly.
He better be, and if he's not, I'm gonna fucking drive down
I
to
just
LA
don't
myself
know.
and fire him.
I just don't know
Well, this is the
what
problem.
better option were they going to get.
Exactly.
Like,
I was like, who do you fire him for
if
this
Sean
year?
Payton couldn't get you to do it, it is what it is. But okay, here's one of the other.
Fucking idiot.
Here's the other. We're gonna go to the other LA coach, McVay. He's pretty high up.
I'm gonna put him in the blue chip.
He's I was about- yeah I was
Low
about to
end
say.
blue chip.
I think he's probably near the bottom of the blue chip, but he's
Yep.
blue chip.
He's earned it. He's earned it. 2
Yeah.
Super Bowl appearances. And to be honest, one, he turned Jared Goff into a fucking player you could get fucking draft capital and fucking
Argue. I mean, he
Not
undoubtedly
Stafford
saved
for.
his career, but
Yeah, I would say he did save his career because the best he's looked is with Sean fucking McVay.
yeah.
Fucking Christ. I'm still fucking angry.
Well, let's cool you down. Let's cool you down here.
All right.
With an easy one,
Okay.
Josh McDaniels. I don't think he's on the hot seat
I
because
put him in the he's fine category.
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think he's like low end fine.
I think he's a good coach. The team sucks.
I think he also gets too much shit.
I think he does get
Like-
a little bit too much shit. And granted, it's kind of deserved because of what he did to
Yeah,
them.
totally. But are people not allowed to like mess up once and then like learn?
He messed up twice.
What was the second time?
The Colts.
Oh, that's not a mess up.
Well, no, it's not a mess up, but it is a fucking shot to his character that
Yeah.
people are gonna now people who
Whatever,
don't,
great.
now there are more people who don't fuck
They
with
can kiss his Super
Josh
Bowl
McDaniels.
rings.
Yes, that's fine, but he didn't get him as a head coach.
No.
He got them as a fucking offensive coordinator. So, and with the best quarterback in the National Football League ever.
Yeah, I know.
So
But we'll see. But I think he's fine.
he's fine. They're, there are rumors every single year that they're trying to move on from Josh McDaniels. Who the
They're
fuck do you
not.
move on
The Raiders
to?
are
No, you
also
don't.
not rich.
Yeah, no, you don't. You pay that guy, like,
I think technically the
Fuck.
Raiders are actually like the most like cash poor franchise in the league.
I believe it because a big move to fucking Vegas will do that to you.
No, it's not. They've just always been.
The
Davises just are like, I think they're the
Okay.
only family that owns a team that aren't billionaires.
Makes sense.
All right, next up, Mike McDaniel. High-end team, high-end performance where I want to put him because he definitely, like, similar to...
Is it too early, though? Is it 1 year?
It could be.
Is it 1 year of
That's
a
what I'm
really
de-
loaded roster?
That's what I'm debating, but I think it's like, I'm willing to put him... If he's in the too early, I think he's the very tippy top of it.
I'm putting too early. I think he's...
Then
good.
I expect you to put Brian Dable there, too.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, just want to make sure.
No,
Because those were the two
and I
coaches...
love Brian Dable,
those
but
were
it
the
is
two
too early.
coaches this year that where it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That could be really good.
Give
And
it another year.
Mike McDaniel is one more year of that away
Yeah.
from being like, okay, he did for Tua what McVay did for Jared Goff.
Yeah, to put him in the blue chip, he'd need to be able to do that.
Oh, I'm not
and
saying
get a ring.
blue chip.
Yeah, but I do think he belongs in that high performance, high tier team.
I'll say blue chip for the next coach, though.
But let me finish my thought. It is too early to tell. Do it for me a second year. Do it for me, with Tua. Like I'll give him credit for making Tua actually look good.
Yep.
Like that. Like I am firmly believing.
Damn
that
magician.
Tua's a fucking system quarterback as of right now, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But yeah, I will put it too early for now, strictly because great year. You clearly know a thing or two. You paid attention to Kyle Shanahan, which is fucking
Smart.
a smart idea. Can you do that for Miami a second time in a row and prove you're a good quality head coach? We'll see. But I would say high end. I do think he ends up doing a good job this year. So
All right. Up next is Belichick.
yeah, blue chip.
Yeah.
No conversation needed. If you're a Patriots fan and you want us to stroke off Bill Belichick for like 6 minutes, like sorry, it's not gonna happen. Like,
I mean, everything's been said about him is like, it's been said a million times. I think that you could make a different argument about him as a general manager.
Yeah.
But as a head coach, dude's freaking immaculate.
he's phenomenal.
Like, the question is, do you want to put him above or below Andy Reid just because of how they are right now?
Put him above Andy Reid. He deserves it for history's sake.
Yeah, that's where I was leaning.
Yeah.
But
Andy Reid, credit where credit's due, but he just got 2 Super Bowl rings. Like if a couple years ago, before the Super Bowls, we'd be talking Andy Reid in the below 1 tier. We would not be doing that with Bill Belichick
No.
at any point. So
that's fair. All right. The next coach, Dennis Allen. I think that is like the most like he's fine. I don't know.
that is the most fine
Yeah.
quarterback. Or
I don't
coach you
know.
have. Yeah, like I keep forgetting this guy exists.
I know he's like the NFC South. Him and Arthur Smith. I just don't care that you.
I
exist.
just don't care. You could be fired next year and they bring in somebody else and be like,
All
all right,
right.
makes sense. Like, yeah.
Up next is Dable, so he's going to be in that early
Yep.
tier with Mike
I
McDaniel.
think that's fair.
Those two to me are essentially tied. Dable won Coach of the Year. I don't know exactly why.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like
That
the difference between the two jobs they
fucking
did.
awards are so dumb.
Like I think Dable and McDaniel did like the same elite job, so I'm just going to put them right next to each other.
That's fine. That's fine.
Up next is Saleh for the Jets. I would put him in he's fine, and this year's a pretty big year.
Yes, I think that's fair. Put him in it's fine.
I'm going to put him
category.
right beneath Dan Campbell.
That's fine.
Because they started a similar situation, but Dan Campbell's just felt better in terms of what he did by himself.
He's a little bit more electric behind the mic, which is why I think people like are willing to buy into him so much. Is
Yeah,
when
he's biting kneecaps.
Yeah, with some of his press conference and his emotions, I think it's easy to buy into that guy. Saleh's very quiet and calculated. He's done a good job. He's
Yeah.
a good defensive head coach.
Campbell's very emotional. Saleh's very composed.
Yeah, and I think this will be a really, kind of like the Matt LaFleur situation. This is a good tell of, all right, where are we going to go? Is Saleh the right guy?
Yep.
Is Saleh a
This
good
year's
quality head coach?
big.
He'll either go up a tier or he'll be in the hot seat next year.
Yeah, or he'll be fired.
Or he'll just be fired.
All right, Nick Sirianni. I think high-end team, high-end performance. I don't know how much of what happened.
Is it too early?
No, because he's going into like his 3rd year now. We know that he's not bad.
It's his first good year.
We know that he-
and that's because of this massive.
Well, they made the
roster.
playoffs the year before too.
Well, no, this that's I get
Like,
that.
I think that
But they
we're
weren't
out of the
anything
point.
special at that point.
I think we're out of the point where it's too early because we know that he's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, listen, if we're going to give some of these other dudes credit for, like, going on a magical run when their team suddenly got good, Sirianni can get that same credit. I would put him below Doug Peterson, maybe. Or he's around Doug Peterson, Zach Taylor range. They're all, like, sort of...
Let's put him below Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson getting the Super Bowl ring when his team was hot in situation and having to deal with a backup quarterback in a big game against Tom Brady's best Super Bowl performance. Credit where credit is due. I'll give him the high performance, high tier.
Because it's literally what it's been.
Yeah.
Like, it tracks, like, his performance just tracked with the team Howie Roseman put together.
That's fine.
So I think that
fine.
he's exactly, like...
And that's fine. I think below Doug EP because Doug EP at least got the ring.
Yep. All right. Mike Tomlin, blue chip, but where?
Blue chip, yeah.
I would put him beneath Sean Payton, but maybe above Sean McVay.
Yeah, that seems fair.
All right.
That seems fair.
Okay.
No other coach handles Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and
No, listen, the man's people management skills is the top.
Incredible. And,
How the hell did he keep that hidden?
No sub 500 seasons, especially after this last year where it looked like it was finally going to happen. He pulls it the fuck off somehow. So credit where credit's due. This guy is blue chip to the max.
He's very good. All right, up next, this is one that is so borderline to me, but we'll see. All right, Pete Carroll. I think he is right beneath John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Because the Seahawks, they tend to track with just what they are. Like,
Pete Carroll, strictly
Like he's-
because of how last year went, I will give Pete Carroll that nod.
yeah, like I think he's a really good coach. Like,
Everybody was expecting them to fucking suck,
Yeah.
and they made the playoffs.
like I think last year was a big feather in his cap, but
Yeah.
I would just put him just a tick beneath John Harbaugh.
That's fair.
But I think he's.
They're
I
both
think,
very similar.
Yeah, I think he's above McDermott, LaFleur, Taylor, those types of guys. Yep. But yeah, up next is somebody. All right, Todd Bowles. I think he's dead ass on the hot seat.
Yeah,
I think he's fired for sure.
Yeah,
but,
the regime change is coming.
just for my own sanity, I'm saying Brandon Staley's more on the hot seat. But
Yes, Brandon Staley better be more on the hot seat. If he is not, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
all right, Mike Vrabel. I've got him blue chip because my criteria is very simple. Some of these other guys have had better opportunities in terms of like longer or their situation, but there's not a team that punches above its goddamn weight more than the Titans, and they've made deep playoff runs and things like that. And the Titans were a nothing franchise before Mike Vrabel showed up. Like, he is the reason that the Titans changed.
Do we need to see more success before we call them a blue chip?
I don't know if we do, because he's got to the AFC Championship. They've been the 1 seed. They don't have a good quarterback. Like, they've done a lot of things, like, a lot of high-end things. They've knocked off, in 1 year, last year, not this year, but the year before, they knocked off, in 1 season, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and San Francisco. They punch high with,
They
like...
knock us out.
Not, like, out of the playoffs, but, like, they beat all those teams.
Oh.
Just, like, in games. They do it with like
all
they
of
don't.
these guys in the blue chip category all have a ring to their name.
That's
and
not.
I'm not saying a
that's
ring.
not what makes you a blue chip coach.
No, and the reason and my counter argument to that is Doug EP down a tier.
Super Bowl rings are valued too highly in some of these arguments. If you put let's take this argument. If you put Patrick Mahomes on the Tennessee Titans, where are they?
Potentially winning a Super Bowl.
Okay.
If he has learned from Andy Reid for 2 years.
Like there are too many like situations matter a lot at a lot of positions, coach included.
I don't know if I can give him blue chip. I want to. I like the guy. I don't know if I can. I think the guy is top of the tier below, strictly because he doesn't even have an AFC Championship win and a Super Bowl appearance. Like and talk about the win all you want, how it's a little bit overrated in this conversation.
It is.
But as you know, I didn't fucking throw Doug EP into the top tier because
he's
pulled
not.
off a ring.
Well, he's not as good as those coaches.
No, and I agree that Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the league. I don't know if I can give him blue chip strictly when we have guys who not only are able to do everything that Vrabel's done, but they've also won.
I don't give two shits about that. Situation matters.
Okay, what if he never wins a ring? You put him in blue chip?
Well, if we're talking like all-time blue chip, a lot of these coaches aren't in that.
Okay, but in this era...
I think, yes.
You put him... If he never wins a ring and he gets fired in 2 years because they just move on and they're doing a regime change, and he goes somewhere else, and still
then that team will immediately be good.
Ring, I love Vrabel. I don't want to... I'm not trying to take away from what he's accomplished or the kind of coach that he is. I think he's great. I just can't justify putting him that high up right now. Maybe in 2 years I'll change my mind even without the ring. But I specifically, let's see how he handles this upcoming rebuild, and maybe we can have that conversation.
I've already seen him handle a rebuild, but I'll put him at the top of that other tier.
I think that's fair. I think he's the best coach who's not in blue chip.
All right, Ron Rivera. I think as a coach he's fine, but he's definitely on the hot seat.
It's not his fault, and it's not fair, but
I think it is kind of his fault, because as much as people like Ron Rivera, he has, like, almost... I don't think he's ever had back-to-back winning seasons.
It's possible. Yeah, you're right, actually.
Like, the Panthers were up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
He's only had, like, the one season they made the playoffs in Washington. They didn't have a winning season. No, he's made it twice in Washington, I think. They won the NFC East his first year? Maybe? I don't know, but, like, Washington's never been great with him. Like, I think he's a good coach, but I don't think he's, like, this great coach, and the current situation places him firmly on the hot seat.
Yeah, I think he's in the fine category. Yeah.
I'm putting him on the hot seat because he's gonna be gone.
Well, here's the thing. I think he's in the fine category as a coach if he was to be fired, because I think the whole thing is going to be blown up.
I'm not sure that he immediately gets another job.
I think he could if he genuinely wanted it. And I think
maybe,
especially because a couple of these other guys who are going to be on the hot seat, someone's going to be looking for a coach who at least is established in the league.
The Chargers hire Ron Rivera.
Oh my god. I don't think this is a. I think he's on the hot seat strictly because, like, if Dan Snyder was still around and this was still Dan Snyder's team, he's not in the hot seat.
Fair enough.
So I think he's in the fine situation. He's going to be on the hot seat, and he's going to be fired because the new regime is going to want a regime change.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
It's unfortunate, but I'm not saying Ron Rivera is anything special and deserves to be treated with class and given a chance with this new era, but I think he's a fine coach.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Like, but I just think he's gone. Like, I think there's almost a 0% chance.
Well, yeah, but I don't even, like, I put maybe 30% of the blame on Rivera that he, like, if he was a better coach, yeah, the new regime wouldn't want to change it, but I honestly think that, like, because he's a fine coach, a C-tier level coach, they are just going to replace him for the sake of replacing him. So.
All right, so the next two, they're both going the same tier. So D'Amico Ryans, it's too early, and then Shane Steichen for the Colts, also too early.
Yep.
So they both go there.
Where's Reich again?
What?
Where's Reich?
Frank Reich is in their fine tier.
No, where's...
where is he coaching?
Yeah, I can't
Carolina.
Oh, that's right.
All right, up next, Kyle Shanahan.
For some reason, I couldn't remember. Kyle Shanahan.
I'm blue chipping him, dude.
I will give you.
I already know.
I'll give you the blue chip. I'll give you the blue chip.
I'm blue chipping him, and I'm putting him above some of these guys in there.
And here's where I think the Vrabel being down a tier conversation is like, this is where.
Yep. This is a fine line to walk.
Exactly. I'm like, Vrabel is just a little bit under Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has fucking done what no other coach.
He's also almost universally regarded as like one of the best offensive schemers in the league by
100%.
Players and coaches
100%.
in the league.
I mean, no other coach gets away.
Like, did you see Brian Burns talking about the toughest team to prepare for on offense?
I didn't know.
And they were asking him, they're like, "It's got to be Kansas City." He's like, "No, it's San Francisco."
I wouldn't even be surprised.
No, me neither. But that's like a testament to.
No,
that team's just fucking tough.
He's a blue chip guy. I was crying for Denver to fucking bring him in, and they brought in fucking Vance Joseph, which made no fucking sense. But it worked out perfectly for San Fran. I do think that. See, here's the thing.
I think where he's at right now is where Andy Reid was at in Philadelphia.
Exactly.
Where he is like undoubtedly
the dude's
goddamn elite.
The dude's gonna get a ring.
It's just when.
It's just when.
And the answer is very.
When do the stars align?
The answer is very simple. When. when someone just stays healthy. Like, God
No,
damn.
This is when the stars align situation for your team, obviously, and then you have fucking Kyle Shanahan in the astronomer's lair, fucking forcing the
Painting a
stars
new
to fucking come
constellation.
together. Yeah, exactly. So Craig,
Like, we don't even need that many stars to align. Really,
No.
just like 3.
Yeah, and the 4 that aren't, he's fucking forcing to align anyway. So I'll give Kyle Shanahan the
And
blue
I'll
chip
tell you the
honor.
2 coaches I'm putting him above in that blue chip tier. I'm putting him above Sean McVay because when the 2 go head to head, Sean McVay has literally never had an answer. And there's also been a
Except
trend.
for 1 year.
Except for not even 1 year, 1 game. And that 1 game, he didn't even have the answer. An interception that was a punt just got dropped. And here's the other thing, is it's become widely known that the Rams start off the year strong, but almost never adjust down the back half of the year.
Sure.
Like, so there's an answer to McVay that he does not always solve in the middle of the year, where that does not happen to Shanahan. And I'm putting him above Mike Tomlin because while Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, he's had a whole lot of 8-8 or 9-8.
That's fair.
Where I think there is a distinct difference between, okay, you didn't have a losing season, but was your team?
You weren't going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ever since
weren't-
Shanahan
you weren't
arrived in
competitive.
17 in San Francisco, doesn't start off well. The Jimmy G trade comes, and they end the year 6-0. Like, down the stretch. I'm like, okay, that's a sign. Next year, week 1, Jimmy G tears the ACL. We love to see it. It was the start of a lovely trend.
Oof.
So, lost the entire year.
Yep.
And then 19, the year where people were healthy, Super Bowl berth, injuries again, NFC Championship. So, as long as the team has been healthy, essentially, ever since they completely started a rebuild, they are in the Final Four every year. And I think that's the difference between him and Tomlin right now.
Sure.
Is the Steelers might not ever be like down, but they're never up either.
That's fair.
So I would have him below Belichick, Reed. I think him and Sean Payton are pretty similar in what they do, but I'll give Sean Payton the nod for now. And then Tomlin gets there because they're just never bad, but they're not punching as high.
No,
And I don't think they've even like... They haven't even made it to the AFC Championship since 2010.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And then
Yeah.
and then McVay, he's really good, but in head-to-head matchups with Kyle Shanahan, with the exception of like one time, congrats, you got it, good for you.
Should have been our year.
What?
Should have been our year.
I know, should have been my year. But so good for the Rams, they got that one, but the trend really is like he owns McVay.
Yep. I think that's fair.
Okay, so one coach left, and this is another one where I think we might have to put him in that too early thing, and that's, God damn it, I just totally blanked on his name. I literally had it. The Vikings coach.
Oh, Kevin O'Connell.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was going to say, I had Kevin, and then I looked at the screen and saw Kevin Stefanski, and I'm like, I just blanked it.
Kev.
Yeah, okay, so Kevin O'Connell. I think you put him right around, like, you put him right below the McDaniel and Dable thing. Because, again, Vikings got markedly better, looked good, made the playoffs, all that type of stuff. Those are all very good things, very good indicators for Kevin O'Connell. There is something to be said for the fact that he kept them composed in games where they otherwise had not been.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he goes right there with them. But again, it's like 1 year, we'll see.
I'll give him the too early moniker as well. We'll see. Again, something does need to be said. There were some games that they had no reason
business winning.
Yeah, like the Colts being up 33-0, which is
Bills game also.
Yep. But here's the thing:
They did it.
they lost to Dable and the Giants, and they very similarly had same seasons of outperforming
Yeah.
the Vikings to a way higher degree. But yeah, I would say that do it for me again this year. Especially now that the team got a little bit worse, in my opinion.
They did.
Yeah, if you're able to prove that you're a competitive football team, I'll give you the nod.
Yeah.
So
there we go. That's all 32. So in the blue chip tier, we got Belichick, Reed, Peyton, Shanahan, Tomlin, McVay. High-end team, high-end performance. Vrabel, Harbaugh, Carroll, McDermott, LaFleur, Taylor, Peterson, Sirianni. They're fine. Campbell, Saleh, Reich, Arthur Smith. Dennis Allen, and then McDaniel. Or McDaniels. And then the very top of the two early, we got McDaniel, Dable, O'Connell, Gannon, Ryans, and Steichen. And then on the hot seat, we've got Kevin Stefanski, Mike McCarthy, God, I'm just blanking his goddamn it. Eberflus, Rivera, Bowles, and Staley. And let's try to predict it. There's always one surprise firing every year. One nobody frickin' sees coming. Who do we think it could be? And it usually comes from the second tier of guys.
So like the high performance, high tier?
Yeah.
Sirianni.
It would usually come, I don't think it'd be Sirianni.
Well, that's exactly why I said it.
No, I know, but usually it would have to be so catastrophic in Philly.
That's what I'm saying is because Howie Roseman has built this team. Howie Roseman could be the one who's like, fuck it, Sirianni, you're not the guy.
Sirianni,
I can tell. I'm
Okay.
bringing in somebody I prefer way more.
Okay.
So that's where my guess is. Not anything Sirianni does. Like, it's not anything against Sirianni or Philadelphia. I do think it could end up working fine, but I think maybe somebody becomes available that nobody thought would become available. The Eagles don't really live up to their expectations. Again, it's somebody that we aren't expecting here, which is why I'm kind of just throwing out a fucking random call here.
You know,
But I'd believe Sirianni over like Harbaugh or something.
I got two names that, and it's only because there's always been rumors in the past of these teams potentially parting ways with them.
Well, then why? Then technically we're seeing it coming.
No. But I'm talking about for like long times. But it's essentially that these would be like mutual parting of ways, and that's where I would point to John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin. I think if the Steelers have another middling season, where they don't have a losing record, but they sort of are like, okay, we sort of stagnated. I think that the two sides could be like, maybe both of us just sort of like need a fresh start.
Sure.
I could see. And then again, the one that I won't be shocked by, but I do think happens, is Sean McDermott gets fired. Because I don't think that when you are in the position the Bills are in, you have to be very urgent and very decisive. And I think they're reaching a point where if they don't make the Final Four, that's a spot that you would be getting a lot of people lining up to take that job.
I could see them potentially calling the Chargers and getting Kellen Moore in there. Just an offensive coach who's...
I don't think Kellen Moore's leaving the Chargers.
I don't think he is.
I think they're going to hire him next.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what this is.
What the fuck?
I think that's what this is. This is such a Charger thing.
It would make sense. They pay him cheap, then they promote him.
Yeah. I think the Bills... It just feels different. Like, it feels like everybody... Because I'm going through this with the 49ers right now. I don't think it's so much on like the coaching level, but just on a roster level of like, when the window is open, you need to kick that son of a bitch in, or all of a sudden everybody starts realizing the years are passing now.
Yep.
And I mean, like, you're like, say you guys don't win this year, and you guys are now like 3 years like removed from going to the Super Bowl, and you're like, oh my god, we haven't been back. It all of a sudden starts like, oh crap, like. Now it's moving. Now everybody has to get paid. Now for this.
True.
Like,
I would say an AFC Championship appearance and being a referee's whistle away from being in.
No, I get that, but I'm saying like my team been in the Super Bowl, lost, injuries next year, then 2 NFC titles that were lost in one close and one straight bullshit.
Sure.
Like, it doesn't matter how you lose it, but you lose it,
Yeah,
and it's
but no one's looking to fire Shanahan.
No, and I'm not saying that for our teams, but I'm saying the Bills. They're in a situation where their coach also doesn't fit in with the other great coaches that are currently making it.
Sure.
He's a defensive coach with a team whose defense is like, they're all right, but they're not shut down.
Yeah.
And their offense is like constantly not equipped enough or not advanced enough to be like unstoppable, even though they absolutely should be.
Yep. That's fair.
So I think that, and with Buffalo, it's like, you guys have been Super Bowl favorites, you're this, and you keep not doing it. They'll, like, eventually, somebody gets antsy. So, I think that's fair. But yeah, so there we go. We ranked all the coaches. Appreciate that. Like, subscribe, comment, share the video. Peace.
Peace.